So, what if you could totally overhaul your financial life in just 6 months? Seriously, we're about to walk through a clear month by month plan that does exactly that. And no, this isn't just wishful thinking, it's a proven blueprint to go from feeling stuck paycheck to paycheck to actually building real, lasting wealth.
And let's get one thing straight right off the bat. You do not need a massive paycheck for this to work. True financial freedom isn't really about how much you earn, it's about mastering the art of making your money work for you. And that is exactly what this plan is all about.
So, really, this whole thing boils down to a single choice. You can think of it as a challenge, really. The path forward is all laid out, step by step. The only question is the one you see right here. Are you going to take that first step, or are you going to stay right where you are? All right, let's dive into our first phase, which covers months 1 and 2. We're calling this your foundation. The goal here is simple. We want to get rid of that constant low-level buzz of money anxiety and replace it with total, absolute clarity. This explains so much about why we get stuck financially. It's a real thing called the ostrich effect. You know that feeling, right? When you put off checking your bank account after a big weekend out, or you just kind of ignore that credit card bill. That's it. And the crazy part is, avoiding the problem only makes that financial stress get bigger and bigger. So, how do we fight this? Simple. We rip off the Band-Aid by figuring out your core four. Seriously, forget everything else for a minute. These are the only numbers that matter. 1, your take-home pay. 2, your essential costs, rent, bills, food. 3, what you're putting away for future you. And 4, what's left over for fun. Getting clear on this, that's your new superpower. Okay, once you have that clarity, we roll into month 2 with a super specific goal. Save one single month's worth of your fundamental expenses. So if your rent, bills, and food add up to, say, $2,500, that's your target. Just this one step creates this crucial little buffer between you and that uh-oh moment. Now, your brain is probably going to fight you on this. It's totally wired for instant gratification, so the act of saving can feel like you're losing something. But this is where you have to flip the script. You are not depriving yourself. What you're actually doing is buying freedom. Freedom from that awful paycheck to paycheck trap. Now that we have that foundation, we can start building. This brings us to the next phase, months 3 and 4, which we call your fortress. You've got clarity, you've got a small buffer. Now it's time to build some real security by knocking out debt and actually starting to invest. First things first, not all debt is the same. We are going after what's called bad debt. We're talking high-interest credit cards, personal loans, the stuff that's actively working against you. The plan couldn't be simpler. You list out every debt by its interest rate, from the highest to the lowest, and you attack anything over 8%. It's just the fastest way to get out from under it. The second that high-interest debt is gone, you immediately pivot your focus to your emergency fund. The goal here is to have 3 to 6 months of those fundamental expenses we calculated earlier. I'd say aim for 3 months if your job feels pretty stable, and maybe 6 if their income is a little more unpredictable. And please, put this cash in a high-yield savings account. That way, your safety net is actually making you money while it just sits there. It's a no-brainer. Okay, now for your first investment move, and listen, this one is non-negotiable. If your job offers any kind of retirement match, you contribute enough to get the whole thing. Period. We're talking about a 100% return on your money instantly. It is the easiest, most risk-free investment you will ever make in your entire life. Skipping this is literally just turning down free money. So where does that investment money actually go? Keep it simple. Seriously, open a tax-advantaged account, something like a Roth IRA here in the US or a stocks and shares ISA if you're in the UK. Then, just invest in broad market index funds or ETFs. All that means is you're buying a tiny piece of the whole market. The bottom line is you don't need to be some stock-picking genius to do this. And the best part is you don't have to choose between saving and investing. You're going to do both at the same time. So when you're just starting this phase, maybe you put 70% of your extra cash toward that emergency fund to build it up fast, and the other 30% gets your investing journey started.
Then, as that emergency fund starts to look a little healthier, you can start to shift the balance. You might move to a 50-50 split. The point is, you are always moving forward, building security and growing wealth at the exact same time. And once that emergency fund is full, you can go 100% into wealth building.
And that brings us to the final, most exciting phase, months 5 and 6, the accelerator. You've built the foundation, you've built the fortress. Now it's time to hit the gas. We're going to do that by increasing your income and putting this entire system on autopilot. Look, there are really 3 main ways to bring in more money. You can negotiate a raise, you can turn a hobby into a side hustle, or you can switch jobs. And if I'm being totally honest, for most people, switching jobs is the single fastest way to get a big pay bump. If you feel like you're undervalued where you are, it might be time to make a move. So why is this next step so important? Well, it all comes down to a little something called decision fatigue. Think about it. The more choices you have to make all day long, the worse your decisions get. By the end of the day, your brain is just fried and it defaults to whatever's easiest, which, let's face it, is almost never what's best for your finances. And this right here is why automation is your superpower. The real secret to financial success isn't about having ironclad discipline. It's about removing the need for discipline in the first place. So you automate your bills so you never get a late fee. You automate your transfers to savings and investments. You pay yourself first. And then you put your fund money in a separate account so you can spend it guilt-free. When it's gone, it's gone. Simple. And there you have it. Just look at this journey. In just 6 months, you've gone from financial fog to total clarity. You built a buffer, you conquered bad debt, you became an investor, you increased your income, and finally, you put the whole thing on autopilot. Every single month is a massive concrete step forward. And just like that, your 6-month reset is complete. You've built a system that just works for you in the background, freeing you from financial stress and putting you squarely on the path to building real long-term wealth. You are in control now. So we end up exactly where we started. The path is clear. The steps are all laid out. The question is, will you start or will you stay stuck?